So, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tutorpreneurs. Today we have the amazing Natalia here. So, Natalia, can you please introduce yourself, who you are, and where are you in your journey right now?
Hi, yes, thank you for having me. So I'm Natalia Kubek. I'm the founder of Tutume, which is a website builder. Create a professional website in 11 minutes. And this is a website builder which focuses on freelance teachers and private tutors. So only on this specific niche. That's why it's optimized. So if you are a private tutor and you would like to have a website created in a very short, easy way, you don't have to be tech savvy, you don't have to know how to code, you don't have to even understand or have a feeling for design, that's a product that you should check out. And in terms of like where I'm in the journey, obviously it's a tech startup, so we are still growing. We are not one of those 10 years companies yet, but this makes us unique in terms of talking to our users, because the reason why we look as we look is because we get very frequent feedback from our community. So I have a Facebook group, which is for tutors by tutors. And very often before we launch certain features, we make sure that this is something that's going to benefit private tutors and teachers. So this constant dialogue is very important for us.
Yeah. All the previous interviews which I had, they were about helping students, to teach them. Now you are actually helping tutors who help students. So you're one step ahead. What was the thinking process when you started this tech startup?
What you said, it's very correct. Although I like to think that we still help students indirectly, because if you are a tutor or a teacher, you have kind of two jobs, one and two, at the same time, right? So one, you're an educator. You want to provide the best quality of the lessons to your students, to your clients. On the other hand, you're still a business owner, right? So you need to take care of the admin, you need to take care of the whole process of finding students, so marketing and promotion, so on and so forth. So what we do, we want to make sure that you spend less time on the admin, where you can really spend more time on your students, right? Because this is your core market. Should be your core expertise, right? So that's why I like to think that indirectly we're helping students too. And when you ask why we started and what triggered all this, we realized that there are very well-known players on the market, and tutors go to build a website with Wix or WordPress, but they're not the best tools for them. Reason being, both of them, if you look at this, are going to serve very different segments, right? Many different industries. So if you're a lawyer, you're going to go there to build your website. If you're a doctor, if you have your retail store, and so on and so forth, right? Which means that they became so complex, they have so many features, it's not anymore quick to build a website for private tutors. And it's not also easy, because you have to understand, okay, what are action buttons, where to put them, what kind of wording to insert, what kind of section, and so on and so forth. We just remove all this because we know what private tutors need to have on their website. That's why we use one template, which you intuitively fill out. And that's why it takes so short to create a website, because our view is website is just a tool. It's like a car, right? But you can't go from Los Angeles to New York if you have a car but no driving license, right? So first of all, you need a tool, which is a website, but this should be super quick. Second of all, you also should know how to promote your website. Because personally, for me, it was very sad when I've seen tutors who spend so much time creating their website, and after the year they discovered, oh, nobody really visits my website, right? Because one thing is to have one nicely looking website, another one is to get the traffic to your website, and that's what we want to take care with tutors, like both of those angles.
Well, I would personally like to thank you for that. The thing is, because when I started my journey of tutoring, it was such a stressful one. Like, as a teacher, I only had to focus, my only task was to focus on uh, encouraging the students, giving them the best possible knowledge and energy that I could give. But a lot of my energy was consumed in the website. I'm not a tech person at all. Whenever they say computer, I just start running away. So it was such a stressful one. Like, I had to make the pamphlets, I had to make the marketing stuff. Oh
Mhm.
my God. Being a solo teacher is fine, but if we are completely dependent, or if we want to make it into a business, there are a lot of things which we need to learn, but it's not an easy task. Like creating a website, like you must have taken so many years to specialize in this. As you say that the website on Tutorme can be made in 11 minutes. Well, that's a huge chunk of knowledge you have put together to make it simple for guys like us. So just imagine if a teacher who has been teaching like 30 years, 25 years in his life, to learn new stuff about the website. It's going to take another 2 to 3 years at least to be at that perfection.
Yes.
So this thing about Tutomy, I like this concept a lot. And I'm sure the teachers or tutors who are going to visit your, or who are going to create the website through your platform, they'll be amazed actually. So now, coming to the next question, like as you said that you have just started up and it's not a big company like the 10 years uh, big giants like right now, but I'm very sure that your startup is going to be a big giant in coming 5 to 6 years. So according to you, do you think is there anything called right time to start?
No. So there's never a right time to start. It's more, I think, about finding the way which works for you. So, for example, uh, my career, I was not entrepreneur from day one. So actually, my career started in the corporate world, where I spent 7 years. So very different lifestyle. But at that point, I think I wouldn't be able to build something of such a big quality, like and providing so much value as I do now, because corporate world allowed me to get all this knowledge about the market. Right now, I'm in different stage in life where, for example, I have more responsibilities. I have a kid, 3-year-old kid. So you can think about the things like, oh, but you have additional expenses, right? Like here's daycare, here's school, and so on and so forth. So it's not ideal time either to start a company, right? It's, in my opinion, it's more about finding the way which works for you at the time of the moment you are in. So when I said we are a small startup, what I really mean is there are two models. We started almost 1.5 years ago, bringing this, and there was like quite a lot of time before as well, where we were thinking about the concept before we kind of officially launched it. But like there are two models in tech that you can develop. So either you do a startup where you go and ask for venture capital money, and that's where they expect you to grow very quickly, not really verifying if what you do makes sense. So very often you pay a lot for marketing and promotion, but then you offer something for free to people. Versus what was more important for me was I'm okay to grow slower, because I reinvest my own income, which means I care more about the results. And I'm not going to build anything. I'm going to build things which bring value to people, because only when you bring value, people are going to pay for it, right? So that's what I recommend you doing.
Yeah, absolutely right. And you and me are on the same page, I would say that. So my startup, actually tomorrow is the first birthday of our startup here. So 15th October, 15th October 2020, we started it up.
Mhm.
And there were like investors who were ready to invest in our startup, but I just wanted to start it with our own, we can say income, which we have saved, or the running expenses like I earn by my tutoring and I pay for my staff.
Mhm.
So I also thought the same thing. If I take money from someone else, I exactly was not sure what product or what quality am I going to give to the customers. So I said, okay, let me just take it very slow. We are going to rope in investors in the coming time for sure, but I thought that that was not the right time. So
And
to take the
yeah,
money.
yeah, and I can tell you, so why I'm mentioning is because like I live in Bay Area. This is like tech hub. You can't have better hub, right? Like everybody here talk about technology and startups and vice versa, right? So the normal standard model here is to go and take investors' money and go and grow like 20x per month or 100x per month, whatever. However, there's a new trend coming and there are new startups which actually took alternative way, and only now they are becoming big, proving that you can grow organically in a slower pace, but then more stable pace too. Because very often what happens when you have to grow very quickly, you pursue ways to grow which don't really bring you long-term value. They show growth in the short term, but then this growth is unstable.
Yeah, it is unstable, and to grow, it needs to burn a lot of cash
Yes.
continuously, because we
Yes.
see big startups, they keep on raising the funding rounds round after other one. That is
Yes.
because for their growth, money has become a very essential part now. They haven't
Exactly.
tried growing organically.
And teeth once a month, they would not be of the best quality, right? But even if you did it for 20 minutes once a month, but if you spend every day brushing the same teeth for 1 minute, I can guarantee you within 1 month they're gonna be much better.
Yep, absolutely right. Now, you know what, I'm getting inspired the way you're talking. Okay. Coming to the next question, like, how did you convince yourself that this is something that I wanted to do?
Mhm.
What was that moment which, uh, like, you decided, okay, I'll leave everything else and start helping teachers or tutors out for growing their business?
So there were two steps. One, for me, which was important, is to go and decide I want to be entrepreneur. So as I mentioned originally, I was working for a corporate world, which is, I would say, easier at some point because you have financial stability, you have all this healthcare, and so on and so forth. But what you are really missing is freedom about decision, what things you pursue, and so on and so forth, how much time you allocate to it, like, and so on and so forth. And for me, I knew this freedom is important. So the reason or the factor which made me switch was the importance of freedom for me as a person. I just hate when somebody tries to push me to do certain things. So there are moments when I can work 12 or 13 or 14 hours, but because I want it. If even doing the same task, there would be somebody telling me you have to do it, like it would be a very different story, right? So that's one. And I just knew my type of the character I have, that this freedom is important. Two, you ask about why teachers and tutors. Actually, I can see, like, I really value how much positive vibe they give to society in general. Like tutors and teachers do a lot of work for society to prosper in the long term, right? If we don't educate our kids, like, guess where we are gonna be in 10 or 20 years? Like, come on, like they're really driving everything, like the growth, the economy, like the perspectives, but also help parents, and I'm a parent myself, to create the proper mindset of my kid, right? Because sometimes the things that I don't see, they see, right? They might have better approach to deal with certain difficulties that kids would have, right? So that was important for me, because the reason why I'm doing startup is because I want to add value to tutors. I notice it's difficult to create websites for them, which is unfair because it shouldn't be. Like for me, website should be like your business card. Like these days, your business card, you just go to Canva, you create something in maybe 10-15 minutes, you go and print it, done, right? The same should be with the website. Actually, website, if you think about this, is a business card on the internet. Why you create a website? It's because otherwise people don't believe you are a real person. There's so much scam on the internet, but when you have a website, people trust you.
Yeah. Well, as you said, you're helping teachers who add value to the student's life. Well, when I teach or when I tutor students individually, I actually have that thought in mind whenever I'm teaching them that I want this student to add value to the humankind in, let's say, 10, 15, 20, or 50 years. Some value he should be adding to the mankind or humankind, because I have seen the power of intention. A lot of things have changed if you keep the same thought in mind for a student. I have experimented this a lot of time. If we keep like, I want the student to be sharp in maths and he should be able to do this things, and 3 months. When I'm teaching him, if I keep that intention in my mind, okay, I want to do this, I want him to do this.
Yes.
Believe me,
Because
after 3 months, he excelled.
exactly. So when you mentioned this, the same was with me. So when I was in this journey, when I knew, okay, I want to be entrepreneur, and I knew, okay, I'm gonna do software, right? Because that's where my skills are. And then you ask yourself, okay, first of all, what's your target market? So for who? And second of all, what kind of product, right? And when I asked myself for who, and I was looking at various industries, when I spoke to tutors, I felt the same vibe that I have. So, for example, my biggest problem in my job is actually my biggest positive thing too, because I care too much. So, for example, if I have a tutor who is pinging me on the messenger, but like this one is not working, and like, for example, my student couldn't do this one, or and so on and so forth. I'm gonna try to help them out. Like it's just so natural, and the same vibe I've seen in tutors. So on one hand, they give so much from them, which is great, and is super valuable. On the other hand, I'm trying to help them to acknowledge that they still own the business. So you can't just go there and reduce your rates by half, right? Because you are worth the money that students and parents pay you, right? So this kind of like general understanding, I'm trying to bring like business understanding really to them too, because I know this helps them to grow their business. Because otherwise, if you just reduce your prices by half, you're not going to be happy. Maybe you're going to still do this, but you can't afford living somewhere, which makes you miserable. Ultimately, it's going to make you go bankrupt, right? It doesn't make sense. And that's my realization too. Like, it's not about money, really. If you provide value, people are going to pay. And the same I see in my company, and the same I want tutors and teachers to acknowledge too, which sometimes it's very difficult because they're so personally attached, and I am too, like to my users. Like I know many users personally because I ask them various things, first of all in my Facebook group, but also like via Messenger, because I want to know what works for them, how I can help them, right? So it's difficult sometimes to acknowledge that, yeah, you still run a business, but yeah, it is what it is. And I want to share it further with the community too.
Yeah, and it's actually a noble task, because uh, I would like to tell you one thing, like Tutorpreneur's journey is so lonely. It's a
Oh,
very
it is.
lonely journey, because we keep on teaching on the internet for, like, let's say I tutor around 40 to 50 hours in a week. So hardly I get time to talk, socialize.
Yeah.
So I go out or talk to people, and if I'm doing this continuously each and every day, so just imagine how lonely people we are. And and as you told that you educate people, educate tutors about the company, like how they should work it out. So it is actually also a good thing, because I was also not knowing how a company actually functions. So
Mhm.
I had to go through so many experiments which I failed miserably, and then okay, I learned through it. So I just upgraded it. So if there is someone here to guide,
Yeah,
we don't need to go and use a trial and error method. So you can just say,
yeah.
okay, this is not working, just use this. So that saves a lot of time for everyone actually. And even if you are saving time for a human being, I think we are doing our work. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why for me, having a website is only part of what I'm doing. It is important, don't take me wrong, because for me, the most important is, and what I believe, the best tech is simple and easy. You don't have to really know a lot to it should be intuitive enough such that even 65 or 70-year-old person who briefly knows how a computer works know how to fill it out. For example, if you create websites on Wix or WordPress, what people do, they go to YouTube to educate themselves with tutorials, right? That's not the way that it should work. How many people educate themselves to set up or create Facebook profile? Nobody. You just go there and you create it, right? As
Yep.
simple as that. The same with LinkedIn. Nobody studies how to fill out your LinkedIn profile. Like it's so simple, right? So that's the way we built our product, to make it intuitive, simple. And then there's this other angle, which, for example, there are many ways that you can promote your website, right? And for me, the most important that I try to pass this kind of knowledge to pass to the tutors who have a website with Tutome is, look, the biggest value you provide and where you do your marketing is trust, right? When people buy, when they trust you. How can you make sure they trust you? So for sure, don't ignore referrals. Like, this is the best marketing tool you as a tutor have, right? And many people just forget about it. They just hope, oh, somebody's gonna mention my name and it's gonna happen. No, you have to plan it. You have to have strategy behind referrals, because this brings you the best value, like the conversion, which means how many people out of those who contact you through the website decide that you are a tutor for them, is very high from referrals, right? Then another one, it's social media, because when you build social media, people might discover you at the moment where they still don't want to buy your services, but guess what? You are going to become familiar to them. They're going to start trusting you, right? Where normally the standard approach that people have when they create their website is, tell me how I can figure out SEO, so search engine optimization, where you put keywords and how people find you in Google. Where I tell them, look, go to Google, put any phrase like math tutor, English tutor, whatever, and tell me how many private tutors Google shows you on the first page. Nobody. You know why? Because there's no private tutors there. People who come out there are general marketplaces. Marketplaces are places like tutors.com, Wise, and because they have such huge budgets, they produce a lot of content to be on this first page of Google. But you can't compete with them as private tutors. So don't lose time on this. Focus on something that is actionable and can bring you results. And that's how you leverage your website. So you try to send those referrals to your website, not Google traffic. You're not gonna be able to do it. You can spend tons of time, but like results are gonna be pretty poor. Don't take me wrong, there are ways to kind of hack it and still get some traffic from Google. Yes, you can, but it shouldn't be your main source of your clients, for example.
Yeah, absolutely right. And you are talking about like the keep it straight, simple strategy of
Yes.
the tech part.
Yes.
So you said about Wix. Well, I have been there, done that, gone to YouTube, searched how to create the website. And you know what? After some time, I just gave up. I didn't complete my website.
So that's why, like, if you are into building websites, you are gonna notice that there are special people you hire to build website on Wix.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can do and figure it out yourself, but then expect it's gonna take you months really to optimize it and figure out. And probably half of those features you're not gonna be aware anyway, because you simply don't understand unless you have like proper background, right? But very often people go and pay somebody to do this website, which is not great either, because website should be the thing that you keep updating. Your rates change. You should be able to do it yourself. Sometimes your subject change, maybe hours of operation, like different things, right? So it should be easy because you should be able to edit those things with the fact that your business is growing, right? And that's how we approach it.
Okay. So in Tutome, like how does it work? Do you help them help the tutors out and have your extension at the end, or tutors can have their own extension at the end?
Both ways. So so we offer on Tutume our own domain at no additional cost. So you don't have to, you just pay for the template we provide, right? And then there's another option where you want to have your own domain, and your domain might mean your name, lastname.com, for example. And we are happy to transfer our payment, our template without additional cost. So you pay the same thing. The only thing that you should be aware then is the fact that you have to buy domain for yourself. And with this one, I can help too. Like I can just, tell you where you can go daddy or any other domain. There are sometimes as cheap as like $9-10. If you go for something really fancy that many people want, then it's going to be obviously more expensive. Sky's the limit. But yeah, it doesn't have to be a big cost in general, especially if you care about or having your first and last name or the name of your company. That's not gonna cost you a fortune. So yeah, really both ways.
Yeah, I'm very sure taking my name in the domain is not going to cost a fortune. I'm not that famous yet.
Yeah, because basically it's so unique for you. Like nobody else would need it, right? So you just create it from scratch. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely right. So now, what are the difficulties that you have faced while starting up your business?
Mm. Difficulty. I mean, obviously, there are like every day there are small difficulties, but I'm trying to think the big one. I think the big one that I had to kind of become more mature to understand is because they're gonna be so much ahead of you, right? So understanding, I think that my journey is the journey that I chose because I see value in it, because I see that it's more stable and it's meant to last longer, and something I think took me a bit. Yeah. In the beginning, it was like a lot of comparing myself. Okay, I'm doing this one, and this startup is doing this one. So I had to remove all this thinking about like what competitors are doing. I mean, don't take me wrong, I still check sometimes because they might have something interesting, but it made me realize that even if I'm doing a website and somebody else is doing a website, I'm doing the website in a different way, because this is my style and this is my approach, and these are factors that I think are the most important for private tutors.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, talking to you, I'm understanding that whichever may be the industry, entrepreneurs have the resembling journey. It's the same journey for them everywhere. So, like as you said, there are difficulties every day, and as an entrepreneur, it is our task to just tackle it and move forward.
Yes,
So,
life is a marathon, not a sprint, and that's why I used to run marathons, right? Which is like 42 kilometers. And in this journey, you have a lot of moments after 10 kilometer, 12, 20, and the worst one is around 30 kilometers, where you have doubts whether you can finish it and whether what you are making is the right way of doing it. But the true value of good entrepreneur is to go through all those small pain points and believe that in the long term, what you are doing makes sense because it provides value. And that's how you win.
Yeah. Did you just say 42 kilometers?
Sorry?
Did you just say 42 kilometers? You ran a marathon for 42
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh my
yeah.
God.
And also, like,
That's very long.
yeah, when you sign up to something like this, you don't really believe you can do it, especially for the first time. So, for example, I didn't start with half marathon. I just went, okay, I'm doing the marathon, right? Which feels so incredible. So what I like doing is to always look back to see, oh, I've done this one and this one and this one. Like, why I can't do this one? Of course I can, right? Like, it's always a bit like, I don't know how I'm gonna get to end point because, you know, especially that I'm really driven for with what I hear from my users. That's why I stopped comparing myself to competitors. I don't care. They have different users. The same is with the websites. So I want people to know that there's no one product which is universal or the best for them, right? Because some tutors would like to have a blog on their website. Then my solution is not for them. My solution is for people who want to create something quickly and use it as a business card, really. So it's a landing page, right? And that's okay. And that's important to realize. Care only about who you serve. So for tutors, for example, it's going to be, don't care about any student. Like, not all students are for you. Don't try to sell to every parent even. Not all parents are for you, right? Find your niche. That's why it's so important. And attract those people, because these people are going to see the value in what you are doing. And then you are going to take it from there.
Yep, absolutely right. Getting and knowing our niche is very important. Like,
Yes. Which many people forget about it. So like because like I like to check tutors websites who create with us, and very often I see general phrases like I teach English. No, this is not enough. Like, but what certificates like TEFL or IELTS or something? Like, be more specific, because then it's easier for you. That when people who really need something that you provide are gonna sign up.
yep. Now, how difficult, according to you, is scaling up tutoring business or any business?
How difficult is what? Sorry.
How difficult is it to scale up?
Scale. Mm-hmm. So it again depends on the approach, right? Because you can have this fake growth where you pay a lot for marketing and you're gonna grow, but then the resources that you pull into marketing stop and you don't grow anymore, right? So this is what I like to call like fake marketing. Or for example, another way would be to do a lot of marketing for a product which is free, so you don't really know whether it provides value, right? Then it's not difficult. It's the only question is how much money you have to pull into marketing, right? The really difficult model of scaling things up is if you want first to ask people to pay for certain things, and not like minimum amount, but like really pay for something, and where you prioritize this organic growth, which is more important in the long term because it's not going to evaporate. So for example, if you provide, as a tutor, if you provide a lot of value to your students and then you build very stable referral business, referral strategy, you would have no problem with scaling up in the future once you figured out how to do it. Versus you put a lot of money into Facebook ads, you're gonna get some clients, but it's not gonna go anywhere. This would mean each time you need to scale, you need to pour more money into this marketing. And this is not sustainable. So that's why there are different ways of scaling up. And yes, the organic one requires more effort, but it's long lasting. So I would recommend this one. Versus like paid marketing. In the end of the day, it's like, okay, how much money you can pour into paying for various ads, Facebook, Google, anything else.
Yeah. Now, how, according to you, means what exactly is the importance of good team for you?
I like, so for example, our team is 3 people, and each of them that I realized have very different skill set, which sometimes makes it difficult to come to agreement or conclusion. Although I much more prefer this model versus having everybody who think in the same way. So for example, I'm working on design, and I know sometimes it's about 80-20 rule, right? So let's push something out and ask people whether they like it, even if it's not perfect, right? So we have those kind of testing group with people who use certain things for free, because we want to get feedback, whether it's good enough for them. Does it do the job, basically, right? Versus I have a great guy who is an engineer and who is perfectionist telling me, but this color is not great. I don't know what's not working, but this is not great, right? So on one hand side, then you have this conflict, me trying to already go into testing, so the later phase, and him saying it's not good enough. And, so either you can get frustrated with this, or when it happens for us, I really appreciate it. Because, for example, the current template that we have, it took us like, I think 2 months only to design it. It's super, super long, because each time he was coming and saying, you know what, it doesn't look so great. But because he was pushing me so much to make it better and better and better for those 2 months, now the main thing that people say, oh my gosh, we love your website because it just looks so beautiful, Yes, there was a lot of effort behind it, but because he kind of, maybe not forced me, but like he was all the time unhappy about the result, we got to the level which is right now admired by people. So that's one of our biggest selling points. It just looks very nice and professional.
Yeah. So, coming to my favorite question, did you ever feel
business, right? So in the long term, I never doubt in what I'm doing, because I think the main reason is I have a big why behind it. You might know Simon Sinek. He tells you know why you do certain things, right? And for me, it's about freedom and independence and helping others to be independent, because that's what private tutors do, right? Why they don't teach in school? Because they want independence and freedom, right? How they teach and who they teach. So I can see the same vibe in me and in tutors, and that's my big why. That's why in the long term, I never doubt. In short term, yes, but I know where it's coming from. It's not really doubting. It's more feeling overworked sometimes, because I would always do this additional effort, right? But then it's like the same is with flu or an illness, right? Then your body tells you, or in this case, my mind tells me, now you have time for yourself. Here's your 1 hour bath. Forget about the business. And then it's great again.
Yeah. I actually like to ask this question a lot because sometimes I feel, not sometimes, many times I feel, oh, why am I doing this? Why should I do this? Because sometimes, as you said, we, as an entrepreneur, freedom is one thing which we started, or independence is one thing which we started this work for. But when you get into this, I have come to realize that, oh my God, there is so much responsibility that I need to take care of. And the job part was all okay. The timing was even more okay than the business part, the entrepreneurship part. Because sometimes you need to work like around 14 hours, 16 hours.
Yeah.
And it of course depends on us, but the results are also depending on the work which you are going to do or put in. So being a responsible, because entrepreneur has to be a responsible person, because the whole team is relying on his vision, and it is He basically work or vision that is going to take the whole team forward. Now, coming to the second last question, of course,
Mhm.
it's been a long time.
Guys, you can skip half of the, get to the end.
So, if some tutors want to get in touch with you
Mhm.
for checking their websites on Tutorme, so can you please tell us how they can contact you?
Yeah, sure. So it's very easy to find me on social media for sure. So you can basically go and find my Facebook group, which is for Tutors by Tutors, and you're gonna see my photo there, posting a lot. So that's one way if you are about social media. But then also, like, the very easy way is just go to Tutume website and we have a contact form. Just shoot me a message. I'm gonna reply. Nothing more simple.
Yep. I will also add this details in the description of the videos of the
Mhm.
video. So people can directly click on the link and go to Tutome website. So the last question, what is one advice that you would like to give to a person who is just entering the entrepreneurship?
Mm-hmm. For me, the critical one is do things in a way that suits your character. So ask yourself what kind of person you are, because that's something probably why I didn't start entrepreneurship from day one, because I realized everybody tried to put you into the system, telling you that's the way you do entrepreneurship. Nothing more wrong. Entrepreneurship has many faces and colors, and you can choose one that fits you. Because only if you do the business in the way that you behave or the way you feel, you're going to be successful in the long term. So, for example, one difference would be for me, for example, do you take money from investors or you don't, and you use your own savings? Another would be, do you want to hire somebody for the admin job or you want to do everything, right? Which comes to certain people don't like delegating and other people are concerned about financial stuff, right? So I would say just think what is really important for you in the way you work and try to accomplish this in your business, how it looks. Because business, there's no that's the thing why I don't like questions, for example, which you very often hear in Bay Area and California, how I should do my business to succeed. Like, there's no right wrong answer how to do your business to succeed, because guess what, if you do the business in a certain way which is not you, you're gonna give up. So that's something I would tell people. Just think and plan the model or the style you would like to take it forward.
Yep, that is actually inspiring.
I
If I
think it's
was
like a diet, you know? So, for example, let's say you want to lose 5 pounds or kilograms, whatever country you are in, right? And you hate certain veggies, right? But everybody is telling you, like, you should eat veggies to lose your weight, right? Why would you eat veggies that you hate? You have so many other veggies, right? Just go for them. And you're gonna
Yeah,
enjoy your diet. You're gonna stick to it for not only for a few weeks, but for a year, for 2 years, for the rest of your life. And that's where you're gonna see results. So that's important. Just match the business model to your own character and to your own style.
well, that was the advice was actually inspiring.
Thank you. Maybe I'm gonna write a book somewhere in the future about this
I need the first copy.
with my signature.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Natalia, it was actually great talking to you, and I
Likewise.
learned a lot of things through it. And I hope we'll keep on meeting and taking interviews.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Natalia, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.